As night gently falls and the world outside begins to quiet, there are places where ancient voices still linger in the wind, places where the past hasn't been forgotten but continues to whisper softly through time. One of those places is Petra, the lost city nestled in the desert of Jordan, hidden between rugged mountains and carved into the very bones of the earth. Tonight, as you let go of the noise around you and settle into stillness, allow the whispers of Petra to guide you on a journey through silence. Stone. In memory, Petra does not begin with noise or grandeur. It is not loud like Rome, nor dazzling like Babylon. It emerges like a dream, etched into stone, patient and enduring, waiting for centuries to be heard. As you imagine yourself walking through the narrow passage of the sick, a winding corridor between towering cliffs, you do not feel rushed or overwhelmed. Instead, there is a sense of being gently drawn in, invited softly by something ancient and wise. The walls rise around you, smooth and weathered, glowing with hues of red and gold as sunlight filters through the narrow sky above. The sound of your footsteps is hushed, absorbed by the stone, as if even Petra itself is listening. And then, as the canyon opens, you see it, the Treasury, Al-Khazna, a monument not built but revealed, carved from a cliff face as though the rock itself had been persuaded to take shape. Tall columns, intricate carvings, and a facade of impossible beauty rise from the mountain like a memory made solid. It is not merely architecture. It is poetry in stone, a quiet testament to the people who once called this place home. There are no bricks, no beams, only the mountain and the hands that shaped it. In the stillness of that moment, you feel as though you are not just looking at history, but stepping into a memory that was never entirely gone. Petra was the heart of the Nabataean kingdom, a civilization of traders, travelers, and thinkers who understood the harshness of the desert and worked with it. Rather than against it, they chose this land not because it was easy, but because it was theirs to understand, and in doing so, they carved beauty into silence. Their city bloomed in stone, its temples and tombs, streets and stairways, all cut directly into the cliffs. But beyond the breathtaking facades, there was intelligence too, hidden systems of water collection, storage, and distribution, subtle and efficient, allowed life to flourish in a place where none should. Petra was never meant to shout. It was built to endure. And it has. Imagine now the city after sunset. No lights shine in the windows. No voices echo through the canyon. Just the faint whisper of wind brushing over sandstone and the soft, steady beat of time. This is when Petra truly speaks. It speaks not in sentences, but in shadows and silence. Each wall, each step, each corner holds stories, not loud or boastful, but gentle, waiting for the listener who comes in peace. It takes time to hear Petra. It does not open itself all at once. It asks that you slow down, that you breathe with it, sit for a moment in your imagination, on a warm stone ledge overlooking the valley below. The cliffs rise around you like ancient sentinels, and for a time, everything is still. A gentle breeze passes by, carrying grains of sand and secrets. Perhaps you hear water, somewhere far away, a trickle that once fed the gardens and cisterns of a city long vanished. You are not alone here. Petra remembers. The people of Petra, the Nabataeans, perhaps once sat just like this, gazing at what they had made. They didn't need monuments of marble or statues of gold. The mountain was their canvas. They carved with patience, with reverence, with a deep understanding of where they were. Even the positioning of their great monuments aligned with the sun, casting sacred light through sacred spaces at exact moments of the year. Every carving, every angle, had meaning, and they left no words to explain it, trusting the place itself to speak for them. Picture a moonlit night in Petra. The rocks glow faintly silver, and shadows stretch like silent dancers across the sand. The columns of the treasury no longer shine in sunlight, but in memory. There is no need to speak. There is only presence. The world has grown quiet, and in that quiet, Petra lives. To be here, even in imagination, is to know something rare, a peace that does not come from escape, but from connection. Petra does not pull you away from life. It brings you closer to something deeper, more eternal. It tells you that beauty can be found in harshness, that strength can lie in silence, and that time, though relentless, can be gentle too. The city does not ask you to remember every name, every date. It only asks that you listen, that you feel, that you let your mind rest in its stillness, and in doing so, find stillness in yourself, because Petra is not only a city, it is a state of being, a place where stone breathes, and history whispers, and the present moment becomes everything. Tonight, As you drift slowly into sleep, let Petra hold you. Imagine the warmth of sandstone against your back, the soft wind across your face, and above you, the endless sky. Let the ancient voices soothe you, speaking not in language but in calm. There is no need to do anything more. Just be, and in that being, let Petra's quiet strength carry you into the deepest rest. The sun rises gently over the cliffs of Petra, casting its first golden light across the desert stone, as the warmth begins to touch the weathered facades and ancient carvings. The city awakens not with noise or movement, but with a quiet shimmer of light and shadow. You are still walking slowly through this timeless place, and now you begin to notice the details that once defined an entire civilization, carved not with haste but with purpose and precision. The Nabataeans, the creators of Petra, were not conquerors with swords or empires built on war. They were artists of the desert, traders, dreamers, engineers who found home among the rocks and chose to shape the cliffs into symbols of beauty and belonging. They did not build with bricks. They sculpted from living mountains, turning sandstone into temples and tombs, monuments and homes. Everything you see was born from stone and patience. You approach the facade of the treasury once more, this time looking closer. The columns stretch upwards with delicate curves. Carvings of mythological figures guard the entrances, their faces worn by centuries yet still gazing outward with silent dignity. Each layer of the stone reveals a different color, soft reds and muted golds blending into one another like a watercolor painted by time. And yet it was all made by human hands. The precision is astonishing, the symmetry, the proportions, the way the design seems to emerge naturally from the cliff, as if the mountain itself had always intended to become something more. As you continue deeper into the city, you begin to see that Petra is far more than a single monument. The path winds through canyons and courtyards, opening into quiet plazas and narrow stairways that climb the slopes. On every surface, signs of care remain, in the corners of walls, in the arches above doorways, in the weathered niches where lamps once burned. You begin to understand that this was a living place, a place of rituals and laughter, of daily life and sacred moments. It is not only the grandeur that speaks, but also the small touches left behind. Imagine walking along the colonnaded street, once the main thoroughfare of the city. Tall columns line your path, some still standing, others resting where time has laid them down. Shops once bustled here, voices once echoed under the porticos. The Nabataeans were merchants of the ancient world, connecting the trade routes between Arabia, Egypt, and the Mediterranean. Incense, spices, silk, and glass passed through these streets. Yet despite their prosperity, they never sought to overpower their surroundings. Their buildings follow the flow of the cliffs. Their temples rise with the shape of the rocks. It is as if the city was grown from the land itself, not forced upon it. High above, carved into the cliff face, lies the monastery, larger even than the treasury. It stands at the end of a long and winding path of stone steps, and reaching it feels like ascending into the sky. The climb is gentle in your imagination, the air cooler as you rise, the light softer. When you arrive, you see the massive facade, simple yet powerful, like a silent guardian of the mountains. It was likely a place of rituals or worship, but now it offers something more subtle, a reminder of how far one can go with patience, a quiet reward for those willing to rise. But not all of Petra is monumental. As you explore, you pass caves once used as homes, rooms hollowed into the rock where families lived and rested. You see reservoirs and channels carved into the ground, part of a water system so advanced it seems impossible for its time. The Nabataeans understood their environment with profound clarity. They gathered every drop of rain, stored it safely, and distributed it with care. It was this mastery that allowed Petra to bloom in a land of stone. Water, the source of life, was honored here not with fountains or fountains of display, but with function and wisdom. The more you walk, the more Petra feels alive, not in the sense of movement or sound, but in memory and presence. Every carved wall, every shaded courtyard, every weathered stairway holds a piece of someone's life. The city remembers its people even when history does not. It does not demand attention. It waits, and when you are quiet enough, it welcomes you. Even the colors of Petra feel as though they breathe. The sandstone glows differently at every hour. In the morning, it is gentle rose. At midday, it deepens into gold. By sunset, it becomes a warm amber, almost like fire, and then slowly cools into violet as the night returns. The city changes with the sky. It listens to the sun. It moves with the stars. And it invites you to do the same. Sit now in one of the carved amphitheaters, where once the people of Petra gathered. The stone seats rise in soft arcs around you, and the view stretches out toward the horizon. There is no performance here tonight, no actors on the stage, no crowd to applaud, only the wind moving through the air, the whisper of history in your ear. And that is enough, that is everything. Petra was never meant to entertain, it was meant to endure. And it has. As the day fades, you return slowly through the sick. The light grows softer, the shadows stretch longer. You look once more at the stone, at the artistry that has lasted through centuries of wind and time. The silence becomes deeper, more comforting. There is no rush, there is no noise, only the gentle truth that something beautiful was made here. And that beauty does not fade. Let that truth stay with you. Let it settle into your breath, your thoughts, your rest. Petra was carved not only into mountains, but into memory. And tonight, that memory is yours to keep. The deeper you go into Petra, the quieter everything becomes. The sound of your steps seems to soften on the worn stone paths, as though even the ground here remembers silence. There is something in the air, something ancient and invisible, like a story waiting to be told but choosing only the quietest moments to speak. Petra is more than a place. It is a collection of secrets carved into the desert, and it only reveals them when you listen slowly. Long ago, this city flourished without leaving behind many words. The Nabataeans, though skilled and far-reaching, left few written records. Their language remains only in fragments, their scripts etched in stone but difficult to translate completely. What we know about them is not from books but from the rocks themselves, from the shapes they left behind, and from the cleverness of the things they built. Their story is whispered through architecture and water channels, not shouted through monuments or scrolls. One of Petra's deepest mysteries is its origin. Scholars believe the Nabataeans began settling the area as early as the 4th century before the Common Era. But how did they choose this place? Hidden within canyons and mountains, far from the rivers and fertile lands that most ancient cities needed? It was a choice of survival and strategy. Hidden within the narrow passageways of the sick, Petra was protected from invaders. And more than that, it was placed at the heart of trade routes that connected Arabia, Egypt, the Levant, and beyond. The desert was not an obstacle for them, it was an opportunity. They became masters of trade, and their caravans carried goods as precious as incense and myrrh, silk and spices, glass and gold. Every merchant who passed through these lands would stop at Petra, rest in its shade, and trade beneath its carved facades. But while wealth flowed through the city, the Nabataeans did not build palaces or walls to show their riches. Instead, they poured their skill into the land itself, carving it gently, shaping it with both function and elegance. Even in success, there was humility. Even in mystery, there was meaning. But for all its wisdom and beauty, Petra did not last. One of the greatest secrets of this city is how it was lost. How could something so grand and so complex disappear into silence? Historians still wonder. There was no single event, no great battle or fire. It faded, slowly. Some say earthquakes damaged the water systems and made life difficult. Others believe new trade routes left Petra behind. The city that once connected the world was gradually disconnected from it. By the time the Roman Empire took control, the city was already in decline. And after centuries of change, Petra was nearly forgotten. For hundreds of years, the city lay hidden from the outside world. Its existence survived only in vague tales and legends. Its name whispered in stories of treasure and ruin. Travelers passed nearby but never ventured in. The desert wind kept its secrets. The canyons held their silence. Petra became a place of memory, known only to the Bedouin who lived in its shadow and respected its spirit. They did not disturb it. They walked quietly through it, letting the past sleep. It was not until the early 19th century that Petra re-entered the world's imagination. In the year 1812, a young Swiss explorer named Johann Ludwig Burckhardt set out on a journey through the Middle East. Fluent in Arabic and disguised as a local, he traveled through the lands with curiosity and respect. When he heard rumors of a lost city guarded by cliffs and narrow passageways, he followed the trail, and finally, after convincing his guide to take a detour, he stood before the rose-colored walls of Petra. What he saw stunned him, but he did not disturb the sight. He took notes, he observed, and he returned to Europe with stories that would ignite the world's fascination. From that moment on, Petra was no longer a secret, yet it never lost its mystery. Archaeologists arrived, but so did tourists. Excavations uncovered temples, tombs, and even a Roman-style theater carved into the rock. Every discovery answered one question and raised another. How did the Nabataeans create such a city with such precision? How did they move water across a desert with no rivers? How did they build facades so tall, so symmetrical, so timeless? Some believe there are still chambers hidden within the cliffs. Some say deeper tunnels remain unexplored. Legends swirl around the treasury, with stories of ancient treasures buried beneath it, guarded by curses or spirits. Of course, no treasure has been found. But perhaps the real treasure is Petra itself. Its silence, its endurance, its presence. You sit once more beneath the arches of the sick. The canyon walls rise around you, smooth and red like ancient waves frozen in time. Light flickers at the top, where the sky peers in. You think about the people who walked here long before you. Traders with camels, priests in robes, children chasing each other in the shade. You think about the moments they lived that are now only echoes. And you realize something. Petra does not speak loudly. It does not demand. It waits patiently for you to notice. Its secrets are not in hidden gold or lost writings. They are in the lines of the stone, in the quiet beauty of carved windows, in the softness of worn steps. Secrets you can only hear when you stop searching and begin listening. As the light shifts again, you feel yourself growing still. The mysteries of Petra are not meant to be solved. They are meant to be held gently, like the wind that brushes your face. Like the stories that whisper when the world is quiet. Let your breath slow, let your thoughts wander. There is nothing to chase here. The city has waited for centuries. And tonight, it is here for you. As night falls over Petra, time begins to soften. The edges of the cliffs blur into shadow, and the paths that once led traders and priests now rest in stillness. The air is cooler now, touched by the gentle breath of the desert. You walk slowly, not to reach any destination, but to feel each moment. Each texture of stone beneath your feet, each whisper of wind that glides between canyon walls. There is no need to rush. In Petra, even time itself seems to pause and breathe. Every carved surface you pass is a doorway into memory. Some speak of ritual, some of rest, some of lives lived and long since gone. You notice a faded column that once marked a sacred place. You see a step, smoothed by centuries of feet. You glance upward and catch the last light of dusk painting the cliffs in quiet gold. The city has seen this light thousands of times, yet it greets it always with the same calm welcome. It does not resist the passing of time. It embraces it. The sandstone walls around you begin to reveal their colors. Not just red, but pink, orange, violet, and soft shades of gray and gold. These cliffs are like ancient watercolor paintings, created by the slow dance of minerals and moisture over millennia. You trace your fingers along one wall and feel not just stone, but time itself. Pressed layer upon layer, like the pages of an unread book waiting to be gently opened. Every inch of Petra carries the story of the earth, and the stories of those who came here, stayed a while, and moved on. Your steps take you deeper into the heart of the city, where the light grows softer and the silence becomes more intimate. Somewhere nearby is the Great Theater, carved directly into the mountain. Its rows of seats curve around an invisible stage, waiting for music or voice or prayer. You sit quietly on one of the stone benches and imagine the echoes of ancient performances. Perhaps it was once filled with laughter, or maybe silence, just like now, the kind of silence that carries meaning, the kind that listens more than it speaks. Beyond the theater, the path slopes gently upward. The climb is not steep, only steady, like a slow heartbeat. You follow it without thought, guided only by instinct and curiosity. The stones beneath your feet have been placed there long ago. They do not hurry you. The rhythm of your steps matches the rhythm of the land. Breath and movement, peace and pause, and above you, the cliffs rise in silent witness. You pass more tombs now, some large and proud, others humble and nearly hidden. None of them feel sad. There is a stillness here that feels comforting, not cold. These resting places do not weep. They wait, gently, as though the people who once built them have gone on a long journey and will return when the time is right. You pause before one doorway, its frame worn by time, its interior wrapped in shadow. You do not need to enter. You simply stand and acknowledge it, as one might bow in greeting to an old soul. Then comes a clearing, and in the distance you see the silhouette of the monastery, taller and more imposing than the treasury. It stands like a sentinel above the city, carved into the mountains with quiet reverence. The way to it is not hurried. You approach slowly, noticing how its features come into view gradually. First the columns, then the door, then the sheer scale of it. Yet despite its size, there is nothing arrogant in its presence. It does not rise to dominate. It simply exists, in harmony with the cliff, in harmony with time. You sit once more, gazing at the monastery as the stars begin to appear. One by one, they sprinkle across the darkening sky, as if responding to the quiet pulse of the desert. This is not just a place of stone. It is a place of memory and air, of echoes and breath. You begin to feel the presence of those who once passed this way. Their footsteps are not ghosts. They are gentle reminders that life moves through places, then leaves traces behind, and Petra holds those traces with care. You imagine the travelers of long ago, arriving after days of journey through dry and shifting sands. Imagine their relief at seeing the walls of Petra appear between canyon turns. The water channels glistening, the air cooler, the shade welcoming. They must have felt a kind of peace. The same peace you feel now. That peace does not come from the absence of motion, but from the presence of purpose. Petra was built with intention, and even in ruin, it holds that intention close. A soft breeze lifts the edge of your scarf. Somewhere, a bird calls gently into the night. The desert never truly sleeps. It simply changes form, and so does time. What once was future becomes memory. What once was new becomes sacred. Petra stands as a witness to all of it, and you, for this moment, are a part of it. You close your eyes, not to block out the view, but to let it deepen within you. The colors, the sounds, the quiet touch of stone. You carry them now, inside, like a dream you do not need to understand, only feel, like a lullaby without words. Let yourself rest. You are not walking anymore. You are floating through memory. Time does not chase you here. It holds you gently, like the cliffs hold the carvings, like the night holds the stars. There is no need for answers, only presence, and Petra, with all its grace, offers that presence freely. The air is still now, not silent, but deeply quiet, the kind of quiet that invites breath to slow and thoughts to soften. Petra lies behind you, not as something left, but as something now carried within. Each carved arch, each soft glow of mineral stone, each shadowed stare and echo of history has folded gently into your memory, and now drifts like a feather through your mind. There is nothing more to see, nothing more to seek, only the comfort of stillness. You sit once more on the warm stone, letting your body settle into the rhythm of the earth beneath. The desert has changed again, from glowing color to silvered dusk, and now to the soft indigo of night. The stars above you are not loud in their beauty. They do not ask for awe. They simply shimmer, steady and distant, like thoughts in the mind of the sky. You do not need to name them. You do not even need to count them. Their presence is enough, like the feeling of your heartbeat when everything else becomes quiet. In this space, time no longer presses. You are not before or after. You are simply here. Your breath rises and falls, like the dunes beyond the cliffs. Your thoughts begin to loosen, like footprints fading in the sand. Petra is not a place you visit. It is a place you feel. A place that waits, not for discovery, but for stillness. And now you understand. Stillness is not emptiness. It is the fullest kind of presence. You lean gently back, your body heavy in the most peaceful way. The stone beneath you is not cold, but calm. It has seen thousands of nights like this. It has felt the same stars watching from above. It has heard the hush of the wind telling its soft story to the cliffs. The wind does not hurry. It brushes past gently, circling the columns, weaving through the ruins, never asking questions, only listening. You listen too, from a far distance, perhaps beyond the next ridge. The soft cry of a desert fox rings once, then fades. It is not alarming. It is simply part of the music of night. You do not open your eyes. You no longer need to see. Everything you need is already with you. The images of Petra drift behind your closed eyelids, warm and golden, then cool and violet. You see the treasury again, but not as a tourist. You see it as if it were a dream you once had and are only now remembering. Your breath deepens, thoughts quiet. There is no tension here. Your body knows it can let go. The weight of your hands, the soft rhythm of your chest, the way your head rests just so. This is what peace feels like. Not something given, not something taken, just something found, in the space between all the other things. Petra has guided you here, not with signs or voices, but with presence. Presence in stone, in silence, in shadow. And now, you let go even of the story. There is no more history to recount tonight. No more names or dates. The Nabataeans are sleeping now. The camels have been unburdened. The markets have emptied. The footsteps of travelers have slowed to stillness. And the city, carved from patience and time, holds you in its arms like it holds every grain of sand. every echo of prayer, every whisper of the wind. The breeze is softer now, the kind of breeze that moves only the smallest petals, the lightest thoughts. Somewhere nearby, the last warmth of the day radiates upward from the stone. It touches your back, your shoulders, your thoughts, and invites them to drift. You do not resist. There is no need to stay alert. There is nothing to guard, nothing to understand, only rest, deep, safe, ancient rest. Even your breath begins to feel far away, as if it belongs to something greater. Like the tides of a sea you cannot see, only feel. Petra has become that sea, and you are floating in it. No effort, no resistance, just drifting. The sound around you is a lullaby without melody. The silence here is not emptiness. It is presence, wrapped in quiet. It is the voice of the past, not speaking to you, but resting with you. The cliffs do not tell their stories loudly. They simply lean close, and let you feel them. You begin to fade, not disappear, but blend, like starlight into sky, like memory into dream. And now, as your breath becomes even slower, you begin to move into sleep. The kind of sleep that touches the soul before it touches the skin. The kind of sleep that holds you as softly as the desert holds the bones of time. Let it come, let Petra remain with you, not as a place on a map, but as a feeling you carry. A softness, a quiet wonder, a peace that expects nothing and gives everything. And when the last thread of wakefulness slips from your hands, know that you are not alone. The city is still here. The stars are still above. The cliffs are still listening. You are safe. Sleep now. Let go. Let Petra watch over you. Let the silence be your song. Let the desert cradle your dreams. Good night.